We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
Happy to have a exclusive interview here on Depraved and Debaucherous. We don't do a lot of these often, but when we do, it's when the subject has to be very compelling and exciting and very interesting. So I get to go and speak right now with the founder of a sex tech company focused on improving men's erectile fitness. His background is in emergency medicine, healthcare technology, consulting, a serial healthcare entrepreneur, an acclaimed expert in the sex tech and wearables industry, specializing in the intersection of sexual and cardiac health. His work has been featured in the New York Times, CNN, and Forbes. He is Dr. Elliot Justin. Doctor, thanks for being on with me. What an important subject, I think, for a lot of men out there, and for women also to understand for their mates and their partners, that this is very compelling and crucial to the conversation.
It's great to be here. So, my favorite subject.
Absolutely. Now, in the actual talk about this, we're talking about specifically what you have developed and created now, the FirmTech erection support device. Now, taking from a story from a recovering man, that it was born out of a medical research need married to innovative design thinking. You originally were called in by a Utah urologist, medical researcher, asked to create a wearable device to gather research data on the unconscious erections men get while sleeping. And the data was intended to provide medical research insights into cardiovascular health. And then also learning from this that the frequency and firmness of the spontaneous natural body maintenance erections in men provide excellent leading indicators for potential cardiovascular problems. What a fascinating point. Now, I heard you on a podcast that I produce for another network, and you were going through this. I'm like, what? Wow, this is crazy. And, I'm thinking about when I've gone through my functions where, when you do get a hard on, when it does happen, it's happened when I'm sleeping, or when you see, a woman that you are very attracted to. And that correlation between erections and cardiovascular health. Tell me what it was that automatically became a breakthrough for you when you were looking into developing FirmTech.
Well, I didn't even know about this 4 years ago. I mean, so it's been 4 years since Dr. James O'Taling from the University of Utah, the urologist, challenged me the way of come up with a way of counting nocturnal erections. And I said, what the fuck for? Why do we care? He said, well, because they're a leading indicator of man's cardiovascular health. And we don't have a lot of leading indicators in medicine. We treat associations. High blood pressure is associated with stroke, elevated liver protein is associated with atherosclerosis, but they're not predictive. You got some fluctuation in your cholesterol or your blood pressure. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a problem. So leading indicator means you're going to have a problem. So if average man has 3 to 4 nocturnal erections per night, and that number goes down by 50%, it's likely that man will have a heart attack in the next 2 or 3 years. That's motivating. So that's the origin of this. I was unaware that nocturnal erections are a predictor of cardiac health, and the urologists call the penis the canary in the coal mine of cardiovascular disease.
And the thing is, there's not been that much technology, I feel like, has been put out there to help for guys. I mean, listen, we hear the commercials on TV for erectile dysfunction, and I think there's something where, depending on age, if you want to still be sexually active, one of the things I always think about is the fact that I really believe there's not that much sex going on much anymore, because right now we have modern independent women. There's the idea of sex being a commodity now more than it is just out of love, out of wanting to go and make babies together, that I feel like the culture has changed so much where there is a lack of sex going on. And I think that also affects the kind of erectile issues that men have.
Well, if absolutely. I mean, if you're, it's a confidence killer if you think, transactional relations, I'll put it this way, are harder. Men need to have confidence in order to perform, this is a big subject, Jorge. People don't date anymore. The dating that they don't date. They did when I was young. You had to pick up a girl. You had to talk to her. You got to know each other before you had sex. It wasn't like some HBO movie where oh my God, we're each hot for each other. I'm gonna throw her up against the wall and bang her. So people. I think the whole dating process in the past led to people having more confidence. Whereas today, the dating process in and of itself is transactional. You look at someone's picture, and then you swipe. Or the woman might want to find out about get some sense of how much money you make, and then they swipe. And that's confidence killing, I think, for a lot of people. Also, I think people have an expectation that they're going to perform right away. And the reality is, for most men, that isn't the case. And that has guys kind of afraid because, one, women have more sexual experience, and they're also, people want to talk about the dangers of porn to men. They're not talking about the dangers of porn to women. I mean, porn creates unrealistic expectations for both sides. So, advertising has people telling them that there's great pills out there, erection pills. Well, they don't produce erections. They just put a little bit more blood in the penis.
Right.
Pfizer's 7 original papers to the FDA for approval of Sildenafil Viagra, 2 of the papers showed no more benefit than placebo. So one paper showed a lot of benefit, but that was in men who have prostate disease. Most men don't have prostate disease. And most of the other 3 or 4 papers showed just a little bit more benefit than placebo on a subjective scoring system. Well, so there aren't these pills out there that are great for men, and most men's problems in dating situations let's back up a second. Yeah. Most men don't have ED. ED is, I'm at war with that phrase. Most men are not dysfunctional.
Right.
So we have all these shaming words dumped on us: erectile dysfunction, toxic masculinity, porn addiction, death grip. These words don't apply to most men. Here's the reality. We've documented, I don't know, like 110,000, 115,000 erections right now. The data is showing that most men get hard, and then they lose it.
Right. No, I think there's a psychological component. That's really what more is, if they're going to say it's erectile dysfunction, it's a psychological point. Because I believe that unless you're in a set relationship where you are with an active partner, they're patient with you, they enjoy, the sexual pleasure you give to them. Otherwise, you're dating somebody and you're going to have sex with them for the first time. And there's the expectations. Well, he needs to get me off so many times. He needs to hurry up and do it. Like, I need to go ahead and get pleasured right away. And, but at the same time, I can't go too fast. And the same thing goes if you are doing something transactional. Okay, let's go into the depraved and debaucherous route. Okay, if you are looking to find a girl that you'll pay for sex, or you go to a massage parlor for a happy ending, they're not waiting for you to go ahead and get done. They want you to be done, because even if you are, paying for services, they expect you to go and hurry up. That's just the normal modus operandi of a woman to go that route. So that also is a buzzkill, and psychologically will hurt a guy from getting hard and staying hard and be able to go and climax.
Well, let's talk about dysfunction.
Yeah.
A man who struggles to get an erection or can't attain an erection, that's dysfunction. But that's not most men.
Right.
That's the 10 to 12% of men who have they have a problem on what we doctors call left side circulation. You got the pump, the heart's a pump. Guy's got angina, congestive heart failure, he's had heart attacks, he has a weak pump. Or he has a problem with the pipes coming out of the heart, the arteries. He's got poorly controlled diabetes or hypertension. Those arteries are narrow, they're not getting blood into his dick. But that's not most men. That's like 10, 12% of men. And those guys are dysfunctional, and they need the help of a doctor in order to sort things out. And some of these men, tragically, their disease is so advanced, they need an implant, or it's just not going to happen. Or they might benefit from shockwave therapy too, but that's only 10 to 12% of men. The majority of men who report having ED get an erection and lose it. Well, that's not dysfunction. That's a problem. Think about it mechanically. You got an erection and then you lose it. Now let's think of it. It could be, the causes could be anything. It could be, hey, your wife's cheating on you. You've had 3 cocktails. You came into this massage parlor to get jacked off, and you know what? They switch women on you, and the woman who's now doing you, she doesn't turn you on at all.
Right.
It doesn't turn you on. Not turn on enough. You should have smoked that entire joint. We doctors have put you on medications, beta blockers, or antihypertensives that are interfering with your ability to stay in erection. We fuck guys up as well too. There's a baby crying in the next room. You're worried about paying the mortgage. Whatever it is, you got the erection. You're getting blood in. The pill is not the answer, and you're not dysfunctional. You're losing it. If you put a ring on, ours, of course, is the best. But if you put a ring on,
right,
it's going to keep you. It's going to keep you hard, not 100%. Granted, if someone's holding a gun at you, you're not going to keep it hard. But it's gonna if you got aroused and you're in the mood and you put a ring on, you're more likely to stay hard, and sustain that erection with a ring. And if you told me 4 years ago, Jorge, I was going to be talking about erection rings, like we shouldn't call them cock rings because that puts into kind of the realm like a sex toys, novelty thing. Call it an erection ring. It sustains erections. Put a ring on it. If you want to have the best performance as a man, put a ring on it. Whether you have ED, don't have ED, put a ring on it. So we did 2 studies of detumescence. Detumescence is the time it takes for erection to go down at the climax. The longer that time, the longer you stay hard, the more blood you've kept in your penis. Nothing, get rock hard, do nothing, 25, 35 seconds. Get rock hard, put a ring on it, you stay hard for over 2 minutes, sometimes close to 3 minutes. Put a ring, get hard, take a pill, do it for about 2 minutes. Do both the ring and a pill together, and you're going to be hard after climax for almost 4 minutes, average man. Well, what does this tell guys? Put a ring on it if you want to optimize your performance. You don't need a pill, or if you want maximum performance, use a pill as well too. Guys need to get over this mindset that rings are for guys who have bad dysfunction or guys who are gay. It's not. It's something for everyone, just the way vibrators are for all women.
Well, for the FirmTech ring, what I'm going to act completely stupid here because I've heard about the wearable, but it's not like it's very easy to go ahead and see because obviously with what you can do, like with what images you can put out there and show exactly what it looks like. I mean, you wear it on your member, correct?
That's right.
And the comfort level, the size of the penis that you have to have. I mean, how adjustable is it? Give me that idea.
Well, it has a hook and loop design, so it's adjustable. It fails with men who are extremely large.
Okay.
So guys who are more, this is the 95th percentile. Guys who are more than, say, 6.5 inches in girth, that's a big dick.
That's Mandingo, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably you, Jorge. But so you're probably not.
Actually, I'm very average. I'm going to say.
That's the point. Most guys are average. The curve for penis size is actually narrow. Yeah. And granted, at one end, mostly black men. At the other end, mostly Japanese men. But it's still pretty narrow. Right. The device will. Guys who are small, guys who are really big, the device is less effective, for them. So we have 2 different products. We have a tech ring that gives the data about your sexual and cardiovascular health and functions as an erection ring. It's more expensive. And then we have 2 rings that are for men that don't have the technology, but just for men who want to optimize their performance. One is called the Maximum Performance Ring. It was specifically designed to produce a more intense orgasm. Hey, Jorge, you want a more intense orgasm?
Sure. I mean, I think actually, you know what? I'll be honest. I feel like I get a very good orgasm right now for what I have. It's just my problem
hey,
unfortunately by myself. I'll be honest with you. I have not had sex in at least a decade, and don't you want
to go from good to great though?
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So look, I half the sex I have is probably with myself, and the other half is with my wife.
Right.
At this point in my life. We guys, we think we're connoisseurs of our orgasms because we start jerking off when we're like 12 years old.
Yep.
Well, I never used a ring until now. 4 years ago, my attitude towards erection rings were, hey, like you say, my orgasms are great, and I don't need one. Now I understand it's not about need, it's about want. So here are 5 questions every guy should ask themselves. I'll ask you, Jorge. Just pretend you're pretend you're a patient. And you're your average straight patient who's like, hey, I don't need a ring. Everything, I'm cool. Okay, Jorge, you want to rock harder?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because with our ring, my girth increases by 4 millimeters. No one's going to walk by and say, fucking porn star. But that's more blood than I can get hold of my dick with a vagina, a mouth, or a hand.
Think about it, Dr. Elliot. The thing is, if you're going to put a condom on because you want to be safe, you don't want that thing to fall off in the middle because the hard-on doesn't stay up.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to rock hard, Jorge. That's one question. Second question, you want to last longer?
Yes. For the sake of the partner, I would have think that would be good, right?
Or for yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, you've had a couple of drinks. You want to last longer when you're jerking off? I do. I want to last the right amount of time, put it that way. 5 minutes ain't enough. Gets over an hour. Got other things to do with my life. But anyway, you want to last longer. Do you want a more intense orgasm? Yeah. Do you want to be more confident?
Yes.
Whether you're with a woman, massage parlor, or even promising yourself you're going to have a great session with yourself tonight, but you shouldn't have smoked that entire joint, and now kind of you're wondering whether it's going to happen. Okay, but you want more confident,
right?
And you want your partner to be more confident. So it's not about need; it's about want. If a man wants to rock harder, last longer, have more intense orgasm, be more confident, regardless of the circumstances, and have their partner be more confident, put a ring on him.
Right.
But you should also get your data. Why should you get your data? Because your data, if you're over the age of 45 or 50, you want to be monitoring your heart health. You go to a doctor, if the doctor doesn't check your blood pressure, get lipoproteins, get an electrocardiogram, you think, oh, what is this, 1900? You're going to I expect some tests. Well, here's a way of monitoring your cardiovascular health at home. Kind of a fun way, too, of monitoring your health. Plus, it'll also tell you about your sexual health and the impact of medications and drugs and alcohol upon your sexual health.
So one of the other areas I think about is, I want to get into the part of heart health and how important is that, because I'll tell you, for myself, I was 416 pounds at my heaviest in 2016. I've dropped down to just around 300 pounds now. And the difference between masturbating before and then, much easier, much more comfortable to do. But more than anything, the orgasms are now even much more potent than ever and sustaining. I think that for me now, I'm at the point where, like, if I was going to, if I was having sex pretty regularly, the hard on would be fine. But, like, I think the orgasm at the end of it is pleasurable and lasts a while. That's the part I really want to enjoy. But I need the hard on to stay long enough to get to that point and get that full climax and really enjoy it for a while. And that hard on stays on for a while after that. But the one thing is, it was important for me to go ahead and have to drop the weight. So I was diabetic. And I didn't want to have, and the idea is that I think where guys that are not sexually active, you said the confidence part. I think there's something about your physical health and how you take care of yourself that allows that blood flow to go through, that makes sure that you're not at the point where if you are kind of, like I was so long ago, fat slob, not taking care of myself, who's going to be interested in me? It's all, relative to each other.
Yeah, no, that it, where I'm emphasizing the value of a ring in helping men's sexual performance, I don't want to take away from the fact that, hey, if you're going to get winded after a couple of thrusts, it's embarrassing.
Right.
So it's important for men to be in good cardiovascular health. It's important for men who are diabetic. Heck, most men who are diabetic, let me rephrase that. Many men today who are diabetic or pre-diabetic are like you. Yep. They simply weigh too much. And if they would lose the weight, they don't need the medication anymore. Their sexual performance issues, among other problems, are going to improve. Their self-esteem is going to improve. So, same thing with smoking and alcohol. Hey, I understand. I get why people smoke. I'm not addicted to nicotine. It's never been my drug. But my wife used to be my wife's drug. It's really, really hard to stop. But when men stop smoking regularly, the sexual performance improves. And I've experienced that briefly. Maybe probably about 10 years ago. I started. I went from maybe like a cigar a month to one a week, and now it's 2 weeks. And hey, now it's one a day, right. And now I'm having 3 a day. Well, it did have an impact upon my sexual performance, and of course, since I prioritize sexual, it was so obvious to me right away. It's like, hey, well, I'm not doing this. Why? I had a guy the other day contact me. He wanted to know. He's got in his 40s, so he had erectile dysfunction for the first time. Well, I'm talking to the guy. He's doing coke on dates because it makes him feel more confident. Well, yeah, but coke is also a vasoconstrictor. It's a dick killer. So he just. Anyway, you get the point.
Right. But now the other part too is that if it's any vices, any alcohol, right. Or like you said, if it's kind of drugs or whatever it is, also the same thing goes. The other thing too, I always think about the fact is that to make sure you have to be in such a sexual, your health is so good, because how many women do we have that are modern, independent, and also feel like, well, they're not submissive anymore. They're not the ones who are like, they're going to just go ahead and be into the sexual thrall. Now the guy has to make sure, how many times do you have a girl that you're with that wants to fly flat on the bed? You do the work. They don't want to do it. You do it. So you have to be able to perform.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't land on top of the girl, mount on her if you want to, just to go missionary, and break her because you're too much weight on her. Can't do that either.
Yeah. Well, it's important for people to be in good physical condition. And one of my hopes with developing the tech ring and the data was that it would motivate men. Men are more motivated by sex than almost anything else. Men should care about their sexual data more than they do about, some fluctuation of blood pressure or the sleep pattern on a wearable. I hope that when we now sold like 24,000 products. I'm hoping that as this type of technology becomes more popular, that it'll inspire men to take your blood pressure medications, comply with your diabetes regimen, be in good cardiovascular condition. So ideally, you won't even need those two things. I hope that men will improve the physical condition and be motivated by the data.
Now, you talked a while back to the Beyond Biohacking Brothers podcast, and that was a show I actually produced over on our network, Cannabis Radio. And when you talked to Rudy and Miguel and Carlos on that show, you mentioned about the dosages, about what people were using in terms of what they were using to try to go ahead and get their hormones out, whether it's sildenafil or whatever there was. And you mentioned about, quote, people that complain about doctors. We treat everyone as if there's one size fits all. Everyone gets the same dose of medication regardless of their weight, their BMI, their gender. My argument when I learned about finasteride, which wasn't until I started working with this company, I knew it was a risk, but I wasn't aware since the risk. And I take it every 2 to 3 days now. Don't take it every day. And am I helping myself with that? Protecting myself? I don't know. But farmers should be able to tell me that, and they don't. The thing is, there's the idea of we don't know what we're putting into our bodies and what is causing our bodies to go ahead and not take care of everything right there in the core, at the center of our member. And we need to go and figure out what we're putting into ourselves and how we're treating ourselves physically. If there's not a reason for a guy to go and lose weight and not be fat anymore, I had to learn that. So that's the first part before we get anything else done, is that you got to be able to go and get your sexual fitness together by your physical fitness.
Yeah. And you're alone out there. You can't count on your doctor to prioritize your sexual health. Something's not a priority of the government.
Right. No, and not to mention, I don't know what the GLP-1s do right now when you're affecting your sexual performance, but I know for many years I took phentermine to help me with weight loss, appetite suppressant. Right. And I can tell you that's affecting your sexual health, because for me, if I wanted to go ahead and be with a girl, or if I wanted to go ahead and masturbate, it's hard. But, it's like and the thing is, I don't know if you would say about this, but the fact that you're using the FirmTech wearable ring to help yourself, maintain and monitor your performance and your erections. The other thing too is that of where you're getting it from. I mean, for some guys, how important is it to go ahead and continue to do something, whether it's not with another person, that you at least try to get yourself off and let the juices flow. Do something that is you sexually performing, whether it's by yourself or something like that. How important is it to do that kind of maintenance on a regular basis?
It's use it or lose it.
Right.
So you can go to the gym and you can improve your cardiovascular performance, and that's important. But the actual muscles that are involved in arousal and ejaculation are smooth muscles. The only way you can't work those out in the gym, well, obviously not the gym I go to, and the only way to work those out is by having orgasms. Now, I can't tell you right now what's the minimum requirement, for orgasms, but I would say that it's probably 4, 5, 6 times a week in order to be healthy, in order to maintain your confidence as well too. Men who go without sex for a long period of time and then want to resume relations, it's harder for them if they haven't been masturbating. Because it's a confidence issue. They don't know that they can, and and one of the positive things about here's some actual data that just occurred to me. There's a big study out of the United Kingdom showing that men over age 70 who have sex 2 or 3 times a week versus men who have sex less than twice a month, they cut their risk of cardiovascular death by almost 50%.
Right.
So it's clearly that there are significant health benefits to having regular sex. We know that women, it's probably true for men as well too, who have sex, have an orgasm in one study, has sex, an orgasm every day for 6 weeks, their cortisol levels went down by 50%. That's the stress hormone. Right. So I think the regular sex is important. I like to joke about how an orgasm a day keeps the doctor away. But why not have an orgasm a day?
No, I think, and I honestly believe the idea is if guys and gals can have a regular feeling of that, and I think also sometimes taking a little bit of a break so that when you get back into it, it's fresh, and then you get a real good rush and really enjoy it, after a little bit of a respite, a couple of days, if I would say like that. And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, for me, it's 24 hours at this point. But that's who I am, and I think it's easier. I'll put it this way: I think I've had an orgasm a day, either with someone or myself, since I was probably 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
Why? It's one of the most pleasurable ways of passing the time. I don't really get people. I think people who don't approach sex as something that's a psychological and as well as health benefit, that they're missing out.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, too, I think about is what you need to go and do to keep yourself stimulated when you are looking to go and be getting erect and having sex. And I think that's the part when you get older, you talk about the fact that there is a bit of a mix of you take care of yourself and then you're with your partner because, when you get older in age, it's not going to be easy to go ahead and continue to say, okay, let's go back to that. If you are in a relationship and you have children, just the opportunities that are there are not as much. So when you look at that, I mean, how important do you think it is about stimulation and saying, okay, I need something else to keep myself fresh, to get me something else to kind of get me, into the mood. And it's not just my wife, not just my girlfriend. If I got to go to a massage parlor, if I go to somebody else or just see something else that's in, online or something else that's visual that gets me motivated again. Tell me about that part where you think it's important to have always some new stimulation.
I think it's really important. I don't, that's where the current hostility to porn really bothers me. Most men are not porn addicted. They enjoy porn. Right. Most men who watch porn bring it finds it to be positive. It gives them fresh ideas. It gives their partners fresh ideas. It's addiction to my mind is when someone's life is being crippled, as an example. I mean, someone who's not having sex with their partner, but is just watching porn. Well, is that because their partner's made it boring? Why is it on the guy? I don't. If a man wants to have relations with say with a woman, but can't because he can't get out of the fucking basement, can't turn off the porn. Well, that's a problem. But that's not most men. This is an example where I think the psychologists and the urologists are projecting from the people who are truly addicted onto the general population. So onto the general population to the point where you have wives or girlfriends telling their husbands or boyfriends, you can't watch porn. Well, that's tyranny. I've had men who contact me saying, they tell me I'm porn addicted. Well, I watch porn about 15, 20 minutes a day, and my wife thinks that's the reason why I'm turned off. It's actually her problem. Right. So not his problem. I think the porn addiction is really rare, and people are making it into something that's complex because of their personal hostility to pornography.
But now porn has also changed a lot. We're starting to see, I actually just did an episode on the fact that it looks like the porn industry is starting to make their way back, because right now OnlyFans has definitely gone towards an adult angle with a lot of things that are going on. Certain models are now definitely going into, trying to go into the gangbang sessions and go in and have multiple partners, thousands of men, and say 12 hours. That's what Bonnie Blue did. Lily Phillips doing something with 100 guys in like, a couple of hours, things like that. So it's starting to be encouraged into that part. And then we have now AI that's come in, AI girlfriends, dream girlfriends. I talked to, some different companies that have been doing AI and using it to go and create the dream girl. But at the same time, they're using it for creating the kind of girl that you want to go ahead and get off to. So now I feel like in today's age, there is a lot of porn that is trying to get to the gear. And even like when you watch certain, there's like the Japanese animation, right? There's a lot of the sexualization that's over there too. There are a lot of guys that are in the basement watching on the computer. If they're not gaming, they're not getting high or something else, they're not getting on having sex. They're getting turned on to what they see on a screen. And that's all they feel like they can get into. So that's another part where porn has definitely changed a lot, where it is much more engaging to keep people in the basement or on their phone locked in to never want to go after something real.
Yeah, but the majority of men who watch porn, I can't verify this, but the majority of men who watch porn also have successful relations with their wives or their partners, and the porn is either complimentary or the woman doesn't want to have sex every day, so the guy masturbates half of the time. That's pretty much that's the norm.
Right.
From my talking to customers and patients is, hey, in a successful sexual relationship, my wife and I have sex 3-4 times a week, or it might be 2 or 3 times a week, and the rest of the time I masturbate. Well, is that guy porn addicted? That's not porn addiction. By the way, I'm really afraid of the future. I think in the future, AI and robots and are dangerous to the human race. That people will engage with this at an early age, and I recently spoke at a conference called Love, Sex, and Robots in Montreal. And the point of my talk was that your computer is not only your ultimate sexual health companion, it's your ultimate health companion. It's your ultimate companion. It knows everything. It knows your taste in food, your taste in movies, your interest in politics. It knows more than you do about what you want as it learns about you. And I think that's going to make human relations really impossible, because it's very, very difficult for people to compete with that, especially people who've never experienced human contact, because they're going to be involved. They've been involved with machines since they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I think about is, and I'm also wanted to focus more on the younger audience. There's quite a younger audience that listens to this program. And one of the things I think about, for me growing up, if I would have just had it where, okay, if I'm not necessarily sexually active yet, and I've already, I haven't really gotten to any sexual partners, and I've taken a while, still a virgin. If you are into your late teens, 20s, even maybe into your 30s, that one of the things I think about is that to kind of just break the barrier and at least get something sexual being done. That's where the idea of like going to a massage parlor, because you go for the easiest thing you can go for is go for a hand job. And if you just had a partner that you were attracted to that would just go and get your hand on it and get you off and jack you off, I think that would be better for everybody. I always think about that South Park episode where they had the shake weight. And the guy is like, the wife, Stan Marsh's wife, right? And he's like, I forget that. Stan Marsh, the kid. I forget the name. Randy, that's right. And then the wife starts learning about the shake weight and then realizes the shake weight's helping her to know how to jack off better. And then she started doing that with the husband. And it was like, it wasn't sex, but like, okay, that's pleasurable. I enjoyed that. That's an old fashioned, they called it. And I was like, great. That should be more common out there. I think for women, if they just felt like, all right, you know what? You don't have to go and get on top. You don't have to go and, put your mouth on it. You don't want to go through the trouble. Then just get a hand on it and just jerk away. I think a lot of guys would be satisfied if they could just have the least the bare minimum of that as a sexual, maintenance on a regular basis. If more, even older partners, I would think if they just had the enjoyment of that.
But that is what's normal.
Not so, encumbered.
The doctors think, and the media also gets people thinking that it's about penetrative sex.
Yeah,
but that's not what most people, especially older people, are doing. For most people in established relationships, penetrative older people, talking about 45, 50, 60 years of age, penetrative sex might be just like foreplay. It's part of the play, but it's not the end all and be all. And one of the most, you just touched on one of the most common male complaints. And here's a typical patient of mine.
Right.
Guy's 55 years old, married 15 years, got a bunch of kids, happily married. But he has ED. They ask him, what do you mean you have ED? When does it happen? I get hard. My wife and I go to bed. I get hard. I go down on her because that's how she comes.
Right.
And when I'm going down to her, I lose my erection. And then afterwards, she just wants me to penetrate her, but I've kind of lost my erection. I want more attention from her. Well, that's the situation that you're talking about. So, women who understand men and aren't being misled by porn or the media, like the guy gets immediate hard on,
right?
Or realize that men like hand jobs. That's what men like, and that's a big part of it. So, also, one of the things that men, older men, that is not young guys, don't want to complain about their wives or their partners is, hey, we've been married 25 years. You've had 5 kids. I don't get the friction that I did because the vagina changes. Vagina gets loose with age. I don't get the friction that I did so no guy wants to tell his wife, hey, or girlfriend, hey, you're 50 years old, your pussy's too loose. That's kind of a buzzkill for women. And
then in the same way, I mean, for a guy to get a hand job, they can do the same thing and help play with a girl and get her off in the same way. So it's reciprocal. The thing is, it's an easier way to go. If we can just get back to square one and just say, okay, let's just get back to that and then progress. Because like you said, I think for me, I enjoy foreplay and I do like the diddling, and I don't worry about the penetration. That's just the means to completion. But otherwise, why not enjoy it? And I think if more guys and gals could really just feel like, okay, don't put the pressure on yourself of being, okay, we got to go ahead and do penetration. We got to go ahead and have sex right on. No, have a little foreplay. Have some fun with it. I mean, enjoy the experience. This doesn't have to be quick and go.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
yeah,
there's this whole concern with the death grip that guys who are watching porn get too used to the hand for masturbation. Well, there's an advantage of a hand over vagina. A hand has a brain attached to it and the hand can do all sorts of wonderful things.
Right.
A vagina has a brain attached to it, but it can't deliver the stimulation that a mouth or a hand can. That's just the way it is.
Any sexual experience I've had, I've done better with my fingers than I have with my dick. I'm not even kidding about that. It's just the fact of where it is. I've had to give a girl more pleasure when I've gone and used my fingers to do the walking than it is my member, because they can only do so much. And there's only going to get one shot right now. I have to wait to go and load up again. Yeah.
Well, again, that's like I said, the typical situation that men find themselves in is that the partner gets off on oral sex and then expects them to be totally thrilled by something that isn't necessarily the most satisfying thing for them. And next thing you know, both persons' confidence is lower, and people start putting off doing something because they know they're going to fail.
And the thing is, I don't get where women want to go and ask a guy to go down when they think that, a guy's going to do the same thing as a pocket rocket or some kind of vibrator is going to do the same thing. We can't. Come on. And the guys that say that they really enjoy it, I don't know how you could say that, but, to each his own, okay?
I'm talking about strokers.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the problem with strokers is and they've never really caught on. And they never caught on like vibrators because they're not as good as vibrators. I mean, when vibrators started to be popularized in the late 70s and early 80s, there was this concern about, women, they're going to be vibrator addicted. They're not going to need men anymore. It's the end of the American family. And now vibrators are normal. They're the norm. And I think the guys need to think about erection rings the same way.
Let's go and go to the website real quick. I'm going to go and wrap things up real quick, but I want to make sure to get a point to let people know. The website is myfirmtech.com, myfirmtech.com. You'll see the Detect Ring. You'll see pleasure rings that are also available, and 15% off your first order, off right from the website. And really quickly, if you can go and just give us a little bit more about, it logs into your information, easy to wear, and just take us real quickly, just for a minute, why people should go ahead and get their hands on a FirmTech device. Sure.
Well, we talk a lot about work-life balance. I'm intent on work-life sex balance.
Right.
I want everyone to have a longer, not just health span, but a longer sex span. So how can you do that? 2 ways. One, you need data about your sexual and cardiovascular health that can be derived from a wearable.
Right.
This is going to become the standard. I'm confident this will become the standard of care in the next 3 to 5 years, just the way you want to know your blood pressure, your low proteins, your electrocardiogram. 2, if you want to optimize your performance, a ring will keep you harder longer and produce more intense orgasm. So put a ring on it.
And also on the website itself, there's a lot of other areas to go look at. Blog is in there. A lot of great information about health, sex, and everything in between. And so much more that you can go and get into. And obviously also regularly posting on there as well. A lot of good information to get in there. And so again, for the purpose of this program, we're saying you got to have more sex. There has to be a way to go and get out there for more people to be sexually pleasured and sexually satisfied, because that makes a better world. And let's just be clear. I think that would solve a lot of the world's problems if people had more sex.
Totally agree. I think an orgasm a day keeps the doctor away, keeps you happy too.
Agree. And also, when you're in the right fitness and you're enjoying the sex and you can do, you're not having any issues with your sexual performance, tells you you're doing something good about your health. Dr. Elliot Justin, the founder of and CEO of FirmTech, thank you for being on with me on The Brain and the Debaucherous. I really appreciate it. This was a great conversation.
Thanks. That was fun.